So, now we're in another part of Tower of the Gods, and this introduces the concept of shooting arrows into eyes. Well, I'm sure Ocarina of Time did it first in 3D Zelda, but it's a pretty simple puzzle, but again, the controls are so sensitive. You move so far in any direction with even the slightest tap of the control stick when you're trying to target. And like, it's good that they send you to a first-person view. Like, I can't imagine aiming without it, but it's ultimately a lot more faster and accurate to aim by L targeting, because then you're guaranteed to hit the enemy. There's no aiming involved. So I really hate the bow in this game because of that. In Twilight Princess, I love the bow. It's like the controls are a lot less sensitive. You can get so precise with it while not having to take forever to aim. It's good that they give you the bow, but I wish, like, I guess I wish they gave it to you a little more early, because the bow is much better for attacking the sea hats that you're forced to deal with when you're going to place one of the pearls in the statues. Well, I'm sure glad that I got knocked onto that thing by the enemy. That was convenient. I could have easily fallen into that bottomless pit. And it's also a good thing that I have that bow there to attack the enemy, rather than just being able to attack it with a sword and risk falling to my death because you always go a little forward after you attack for some reason. Don't know why Link can't just stand still and attack like in the 2D Zelda games. Of course, you can only aim up so much. I guess it makes sense, like, Link can only look up so far and aim so far without falling over, and like, I guess he'd have to be lying down to aim up that high, and by that point he's probably going to draw the arrow from the drawstring, and it's going to, like, the behind of the arrow, the back of the arrow is going to hit his chest, and he's not going to be able to actually shoot it. Wow, I'm really glad that I actually managed to grab onto that platform rather than just being bounced back by it. Like, if you get bounced back by something when you're Dooku leaping into it, it's up to luck whether you press the A button at the right time so that you actually grab onto a ledge and hang on to it. Because if you don't press the button at the right time, you'll just fall. Ariel, Link's sister, of course, is actually voiced by the same voice actress for Link. And that same voice actor is also the voice of Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. Sachi Matsumoto. Like, of course it's a Japanese voice actress, because, like, there's no, like, it's a simple English phrase and there's not much voice acting to begin with. And I think that Ariel and Link are both, they had the perfect voices. They sound exactly how you expect them to sound. And what I really like about Ariel now that I think about it, is that they don't try overly hard to make her sound cute. Oh! That is such a cheaply placed piece. I mean, like, you're trying to climb up that ladder, but, and look, I wanted to attack it, but then it just flew away so fast, and now it's back here. It was way too difficult to defeat that enemy. The enemy just instantly rushes at you out of nowhere when you're trying to climb that ladder. But as I was saying, I like how they don't make Ariel sound like Cream the Rabbit. Like, they don't try too hard to make her sound cute. Like, she sounds like you'd expect a little girl to sound. I don't know how old she is. I'm imagining 6. But yeah, she has a good voice. And generally, I don't care about acting nearly as much as I care about a voice. Because it doesn't matter how good the acting is if they sound like Cream the Rabbit when they talk. Or something like that. Link's "come on" might not necessarily sound good. Well, I guess it's acted with the right emotion, but at least it's the right voice. Anyways, that weight puzzle, it's creative. I really like the concept of it. It's kind of tedious though, constantly grabbing a statue one at a time and throwing it onto the weight one at a time so that you can jump onto the raised platform. Like, I'm imagining Link trying to stack up multiple different statues on top of each other, and like, you'd be able to pick up a statue, hold it over your head, and then press A in front of another statue and pick up that too. But I don't think Link's arms are high enough to actually do that. I think that would actually be pretty silly. Although it would be cool if you could make it so that that was actually possible, like with an item or equipable skill or something. Like, that would be pretty convenient, like being able to hold multiple things over your head at once. That would certainly make this puzzle a lot quicker. You still have water here, but it's not really a problem because you're barely in it. Like, you never have a situation in this dungeon where you have to swim for an extended period of time and worry about drowning. So the air meter is never really an actual problem in the game. It's only there to prevent you from sequence breaking, which is actually good because the thing is, sequence breaking could actually make the game impossible to beat. The game expects you to get a whole bunch of rupees to beat the Triforce quest, but if you were allowed to go to every island right away, and you got a whole bunch of treasure that went to waste because of your tiny wallet, then you make the Triforce quest a lot harder for yourself. So it's actually good that they railroad you like that. Not to mention, you can't get away with skipping the stealth section, just swimming to Forsaken Fortress, because that'll activate a series of cutscenes taking you to Hyrule when you haven't gotten the Master Sword or met the boat yet. So, bad things will happen. You need to use the pirate ship to get to the stealth section properly. I'm not really sure I was supposed to do it that way. I'm mildly impressed that they didn't just have the statue just clip right through Link there. Like, you actually had to walk past him. But it wasn't like you got completely stalked by him like he was a wall. Just kept on going easily, in spite of that. But yeah, now you have to repeat the weight puzzle all over again, because for some reason, not only do they spawn a Wizrobe there to be annoying, although with the bow he's not really a problem, but why did they get rid of the weights that I put there? Why did they do that? This is just padding. I've already done this. I've already proven that I'm capable of beating the puzzle. What's the point of forcing me to do all of this again? And of course, you're always going to overestimate how long you can throw something, like your throwing distance, because the statues are heavy, and of course you can't just throw the jars. Like, I'm pretty sure if you throw the jars, they're just gonna break because they're made of glass or something. They're pretty fragile. I guess the statues are made of really hard materials. You don't actually need the jars though. I wonder how much, like, I guess a statue weighs more than Link. Can't weigh that much more though, considering we were able to get past that just fine. But yeah, the Tower of the Gods is the closest that this game really has to a water temple because of the inside of Jaban dungeon never actually being made. Which is good because the water temple is always the low point of any 3D Zelda game. Like, Lakebed Temple, I've heard, is pretty annoying, and I don't have very many fond memories of it in Twilight Princess. That's the closest I've ever gotten to playing the water temple. Like, the water temple is actually one of the reasons I'm not too enthusiastic about beating Ocarina of Time. Like, I guess I could just play the whole game with a guide on hand the whole time, like I did with Link's Awakening, but I don't really find that to be very conducive to an enjoyable experience. Wow, I'm really lucky that I actually managed to destroy that thing before it hit me, because it appears and then disappears so fast. In general, I had a lot of good fortune for this playthrough. Like, all of my bad luck seemed to come in when I played the game again when I wasn't recording. Like on a, like, in the Forsaken Forest Haven dungeon. In the area where you use the Dooku Leaf over and over again to make a platform move, but you also have to have a chestnut on it. But the thing is, you can actually move that chestnut with the Dooku Leaf. So, you can get, and you can also, you have to hold the Dooku Leaf, like, you have to hold the chestnut and jump towards the next platform after that. And you might not be close enough to it, and so you'll jump and then fall down with the chestnut in your hand, which happened to me over and over and over again. You'd think that the Let's Player's curse would kick in and that would happen when I was recording, but it didn't. This is pretty cool, like, actually, like, it's night, and I'm actually seeing the sky. Like, this really makes you feel like you're in an actual tower. Because it's pretty hard sometimes to actually have it dawn on you that you're going up. And you're going above the ground of the world that you're in video games. Like, it can be easy to just think of it as you're progressing through the dungeon and not really get the emotional impact of you're going higher up in a tower. But with Dragon Roost Cavern and this dungeon, you actually get to see that you're in the sky and you're pretty high up. You get to see the Great Sea and everything, which is cool. And I like the atmosphere of this cutscene. I like the mystical, like, the choir, I guess, music. But I really like hearing that. And it goes perfectly with what's happening on the screen. And I also really love the music that plays in this boss fight. And how they do some sort of dynamic thing with the music where when the boss goes from one part of it to another, it changes the music so that it's a lot more intimidating. Like with organ music that's played a more cacophonic way, I guess. And it's done so naturally too, like it just naturally flows in from one part of the music to the other. Like, see? So, like, I look up the music on YouTube, and it's kind of underwhelming because it's not like I'm actually hearing the music as I would when I'm actually playing the boss fight. I'm just hearing one part of the theme or another. The boss fight itself, though, is kind of annoying. You can never actually run out of arrows here. Like, that's the thing. Because the boss will he'll actually send arrows out of his nose if you run low on them. So, and that makes sense because it's a test of your might as the hero. This actually is unique in that it's not an evil boss, it's just a test. So of course it's going to make sure that you don't lose by running out of arrows. Because that wouldn't really be fair. You could still be a capable hero and just run out of arrows. And a reason that's very easy to run out of arrows is that this boss has invincibility frames when you're shooting his eye. Like, you have to wait for a little while before trying to shoot his red eye again sometimes, because it'll just ignore your arrows a lot of the time. So it's very easy to, even if you're opposed to codes for some reason, it's very easy to get frustrated and just resort to using an infinite arrows code just for this one boss. And like, even these eyes, it can very easily, like, these eyes can have invincibility frames, and also when the hands are moving around, sometimes you can get unlucky and your arrow will miss because they're moving targets. And see, you get more arrows, so you never have to worry about actually running out. But see, I missed because it's a moving target. It just moves out of the way. I don't see the point of electrifying the floor. Like, it seems really unnecessary. Like, it's just add insult to injury, really. Why can't there just be an arena that's the entire room? And like, if you, like, then you hang off it and then you have to climb back up. It's annoying. And something really cheap about this boss, it doesn't seem fair to me at all, is that the head moves so fast compared to you. And meanwhile, you have to walk all the way away from it, and then stop and turn around to face it, and then it'll target it, and then shoot it. It takes so much time to shoot it in the eye, which sounds pretty disturbing out of context. It just doesn't feel fair. They can move so fast compared to you with the amount of time that it takes for you to shoot it. Because if you're too close to it, then it'll go into its fireball spewing mode. The fire is easy to avoid, like especially if you stop L targeting, but yeah, this boss can be kind of challenging for some people. I don't think it's nearly as frustrating as the forest boss though, from the sheer fact that, again, like, I could have sworn that I targeted all of the vines holding up the forest boss, but then it decides, nope, you didn't target them, or I'm going to randomly make the boomerang hit the side of the boss or its tentacles. Like, if I could just target all of the things holding up the forest boss and make it collapse in one go, and it was simple and easy and quick, then it'll be fine. But the boomerang just does not work with the kind of boss that you're expected to do. You saw how long it took for me to collapse that boss, and that was just for the first cycle. Although at least that boss can still be defeated really quickly as soon as you finally get the boss to collapse. I don't know, at least the boss of this dungeon isn't entirely based around a broken, unreliable mechanic. Because with this boss, I mean, you have invincibility frames for the enemies, which is a huge problem that's consistent throughout the entire game. And you also have, like, yeah, it has its own problems, but it relies on targeting in the third person with the arrow, which is perfect. It's not like it expects you to target in the first person, which would really suck. So, like, I think the boss works for what it's trying to do. It's not, like, it is cheap, but it's not cheap in the sense that it relies on broken, unreliable mechanics. And sudden cut. See you in the next part.